So in this video I'm going to talk about my elephant garlic, and this is where I grow it, behind me here. And it's a lovely little spot really. So it's just under these trees. It's got a thick wood chip mulch over the top of it. And I just, leave the garlic in there basically to kind of do its own thing. I just thought I'd talk you through the stages. So we just started harvesting the garlic and it's pretty nice, good size. I'm very happy with it. I don't know what I got, like 20, 30, something like that, elephant garlics. And we're going to put those kind of out of sun now and get them drying. So you don't want a lot of sun on them, you just want them to be sort of well ventilated and dry, and you leave them for a couple of months and then store them, nice and cool and dry again. And you'll find that some of the garlic doesn't differentiate into cloves, and those are called rounds. And I leave a lot of my rounds in, so you can see behind me I've left quite a lot in. And they will just become, full-blown elephant garlic plants with differentiated cloves next year. And I've also got probably 20 other rounds that I took out, and I took those out just because I want to space them nice and neatly. And I'm actually going to space them now and plant them now because I'm going to re-mulch this bed, and so I want to put them in before I put the mulch down. And obviously that's fine. Most people take them out and then plant them again in sort of October time, but that's only so that you can use the bed for something else through summer. But obviously I'm not going to use this for anything else. It's just going to be a mulched understory effectively underneath these trees. And some of those plants will make these beautiful flowers as well. And so I'll leave those in just because they look so pretty. And so that is pretty much it. I'll just show you one more thing, which are these little bulbils. And you can use these to grow, elephant garlic again. You'll grow rounds in the first year from these. So rounds like the one that I've lost. There it is. Rounds like those, and then you plant those or leave those in the ground for next year. So it takes 2 years to go from a bulbil to a big elephant garlic bulb. But I'm actually going to plant these like an onion. So I'm going to use them like an overwintered onion. So I'm going to plant those and then harvest them in spring. Either as like a tender leek or as an onion. So they'll only be sort of this sort of size, so they'll be like a small onion. But I think they're going to be lovely. So it's just an experiment, we'll see how they go. Of course I could leave some of them in and get rounds and save those rounds and plant them if I wanted to. But I'm going to try them out as a kind of early onion alternative. We grow a lot of early onions, but sometimes they all go to seed on us. So this will be an interesting experiment, and kind of like a little bit of a hedge to see whether these work just as well as early onions. Elephant garlic, being in the leek family, is not that close really to garlic, although it looks like garlic. It's more like leek and a little bit like onion. So that's kind of the way that I kind of treat it. So I've given this bed a good weed. And so now what I'm going to do is just find spots, about 12 inches between the existing plants, and dig little holes with my trusty little trowel like that. And I want to go in about 4 inches, so that happens to be 5 inches, so that's pretty useful. And I'm just going to drop the rounds in these holes, and then I'm going to put a mulch again over the top about 2 inches. So the result will be they'll be about 6 inches down. The roots will be about 6 inches down. The tops will be about 4 inches down. So these are the rounds that I ended up with. and lots of different sizes. And obviously I'm just planting these in here, and it's interesting to note that this ground is really nice and moist still underneath this wood chip mulch, and that's quite nice to see. That means the trees won't be under too much stress, and so it's a nice quick process. I am trying to make sure that none of these have got little bulbils, because we just want an individual plant in each spot. And it's interesting how, I love these sorts of interplants, where nothing interferes with anything else. The garlic doesn't interfere with the trees don't interfere with the garlic. It's a nice kind of symbiosis. And it just looks nice as well. It's quite funny really that every time I dig one of these holes, an apple fell into the hole. So these little garlics have got rotten apples to keep them company and feed them later on in the year, which, I don't know, maybe that'll be a good thing. That's good. I actually had exactly enough. So I'm just going to cover these over. Try not to get too much wood in there, trying to get the kind of composted wood. This is something I'm doing a lot more of, growing under wood chip wherever I can to reduce the need to water. It looks nice as well, I think. So it's a nice load of wood chip there. It's good stuff actually. It's not too well composted, which is exactly what I want, because I've got nicely composted wood chip already on the bed, so I want this to last a long time. I don't really mind that I'm kind of covering these existing elephant garlic plants, because they're kind of finishing now, so I just want to cover up the bulbs. So I'm going to need another load, but yeah, that should be really nice. And hopefully this will mark for me the kind of area in which I've planted the garlic. So I'm trying to give it, well, right now I'm giving it 3 inches probably, but it'll kind of settle down to 2 inches, which is my kind of objective year on year. And it means I don't need to feed the trees, although I sometimes give them a bit of seaweed or something like that, just in case they're lacking in any micronutrients. But most of what they need, they seem to get from this wood chip. So that's all finished. And just bear in mind that you don't want to put too much wood chip around the trunk of your trees.